Good afternoon, and as you've seen in the title, British Army kit this weekend. I haven't put all my British stuff out. Some of it just wouldn't have been appropriate for the weather. It's actually really nice today, which is quite shocking after the weather we've had recently. So things like my army sleeping bag would have been just way too warm. But I'm going to be army bivvy bag, army shelter over the top, which we'll have a discussion about when I do that. Obviously my army bag and a few other bits of kit, so a bit of a mixture, but predominantly army stuff today. Right, but let's shelter up. I've just gone a diamond configuration, much like you would over a hammock, but because these covers aren't that large, you get a decent amount of length out of it. There's no problem with hanging it square, although they're not square, but you know what I mean, square on. But it's only just long enough. This way, you just get more cover. Going diamond, you get more storage area to your sides as well. As for this piece of equipment, most people know it as a basher. And the reasons for this, British Army, when they was in India, back when we had an empire, shall we say, basher was a term used by the locals for a shelter. The British adopted the slang term. The other thing, it's also been used now, the word basher, as an acronym. British Army Standard Hotel Accommodation, just as a bit of a joke. But both are wrong in a way. If you actually look up its NATO number, it's a shelter sheet. And it actually says shelter sheet on the label if you check it out. But most people still know it as a basher. Right, that's bed for the night set up. I've gone with the Gore-Tex bivvy bag, although I'm not sure I'm going to be using it yet. It is quite mild and I might get too hot in that, so that might have to come off. I've got my Dura 2 sleeping bag. It's very similar style to the army one, but just not as warm. So that should be about right for tonight. Cheapy inflatable pillow. Underneath here, I have got my normal sleep mat, my Nemo one. But as I'm on the floor, for a bit of puncture protection, I've got the army, it's not British Army actually, this is German, poncho liner, just encased around that. I've just tied the ties up together to make like a sleeping bag shape. Drop the mat inside, bit of extra puncture protection. So I'm going to be, well, probably more than warm in that. I say I might end up ditching this when I go to bed. I'll just have to see what the temperature's like. No saw today, so I had to do a bit of natural processing. And another new toy for trying out on this camp, sent to me by blades.co.uk. Cudman, I guess you would pronounce that. It's Spanish, so I'm not quite sure how they pronounce it, but C-U-D-E-M-A-N. Now this is a pretty looking thing. Let me put that up there. Nice leather sheath. Quite thick leather too, I like that. It looks well made. I think the belt loop is big enough for my belt. It's not a big belt loop, but that looks okay. Open that up. What do you think of that? I think it's a really handsome looking knife, that. nice and broad. The spine doesn't feel too bad. I'll test it later. The handle, it has got finger grooves in it, which I'm not always a fan of, but these ones, they're not like too aggressive, so they do fit nicely in the hand. We'll see how I get on with that later, but certainly to the eye it looks really nice. And just a heads up, if you go to the Blades website and you buy any of the Kuban range, and it is a huge range, they've got loads of knives, if you order one this month you get put in a prize draw for one of these, so you could end up with one for free. But yeah, first impressions are good. Let you know more later. Well, as you can see, I'm here with Mr. Mark again.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, ça va? And he's gone very bushcrafty today. If you can see it through the smoke from that bloody bush box where we've just made the brew. Why does it always come my direction? Or at least it is at the moment. Yeah, he's Bushcraft Spain. They're like oilskin tarp. Look quite nice actually. And he's rigged it up a very Bushman style. And he's even got his little stall that's created. Da -da -da -da. Yes, he's gone very retro. He's a man of the woods today. Very much.
The woodsman.
Made my setup look quite modern in comparison. But, yeah, he's got plenty of room in there. Should have quite a warm night, I would have thought. Because the canvas does always hold a lot more heat. That's not the first time you used it, is it? You had it in some bad weather before, and it.
Oh yeah, last week.
Yeah.
Oh.
No leaks, worked fine.
Yep.
Good strong thing for using in the woods when you're roughing it a little bit.
Yeah.
But of course the downside is a little bit more weight, but they're not dramatically heavy, to be honest.
And I've got something a bit more bushcrafty in here.
Oh God, what has he got? Not that bloody light.
No. What, the flashlight?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, little grill.
From TGM Metalworks. Yeah.
For your dinner later.
Yeah. Got a nice steak, so
Cool, cool. Well, as I'm going military, well, as military as I can at the moment, I've got a British Army ration pack. But I'm sure that'll be fine too. Won't sort of smell and taste quite as nice as his though.
Steak and asparagus for me.
Just had a quick wander up to the old camp, because this is the other week where we had some people camping. Basically want to see if they left any rubbish and left it tidy. Looking good. Looks like I've dragged some big logs in here for seating. Obviously the fire was used. One tiny little bit of rubbish there. That's no big deal, it's in a fire pit. Can't be moaning about that. The rest of the site looks clean and tidy. A stick been put in the ground there, obviously had a little lantern on it. But no, it's as we left it. So no complaints there. It's one of the reasons, as much as I encourage people to go camping, you so often get rubbish and crap left behind. But it looks like they've been very respectful, and can't complain about that. That's good news. No complaints at all. It's always a worry, especially when someone camps close to where you personally camp on a regular basis. It's not like I've got permission to be here. So if the landowner finds rubbish, and then of course finds me because I'm here regularly, they're very quick to put two and two together. But in this case, all good. What's on the menu? Spicy sausage and potato wedges in a authentic British ration. Get in there. Good. That shouldn't take too long. I am getting peckish. It's early though. It's only about 4:30, but I've got another one. Something different. So if I'm hungry later, I can always have a second. That'll do to start. Well, dinner is done. It's good. Whether it's good because I'm really hungry or whether it's really good, I'm open to debate. But I have had this one before, the beans and wedges, and it's quite decent. But to be fair, I will eat anything. Now we've had dinner. Well, Mark's just ploughing through his dinner at the moment. It's beer o'clock. Got my favourite vocation. Just can't recommend these enough. I really can't. It's just a shame they're not cheaper. Never mind. Get what you pay for. Tiny little bit of leftover steak there. We'll leave that out for Mr. Fox. He'll probably hoover it up. We haven't left anything out for him for a little while, so he might be out of routine, but we'll see. We'll see if that's still there in the morning. Well, it's time to put the smock on. Sun's going down, it's getting a bit cooler. I did consider bringing my old smock, which I prefer in some ways, my DPM one, but no, gone with the MTP. Matches the bash that I'm using, matches my hat, it'll do the job. And here we have the lesser spotted MDM outdoors. Strange creature often seen in the woodland.
Nothing to see here.
Just fanning about, trying to do his thumbnail like he has been for the last half an hour. Now, the funny conversations you have around the campfire sometime. We was just talking about whether it would be possible to have Bigfoot. Obviously not in the UK, but in somewhere like really remote abroad. And if so, how big would a Bigfoot fart be? I mean, I've heard a cow fart and I've heard a horse fart, and I'd imagine if he's as big as they say, the bulk could be about the same. So yeah, how big would a Bigfoot fart be? And would it be stinky? I suppose it depends on his diet, doesn't it? But yeah,
I should imagine it eats a lot of berries and stuff.
yeah, whatever's available, I suppose. So yeah, just an insight into our train of thought while sitting around the campfire. Right, it's about 10ish. Time for me to get my head down. Oh, that was a bit of a, well, not a struggle, but to get into the army bivvy, because you have to access via the top. It's always a bit of a pain wiggling down in, although they're quite generous. It makes me appreciate my German one with the zip down the side. But they've both got pros and cons. It's still a great bivvy, this one. Just getting it in and out isn't quite so simple. Okay, see you in the morning. £6:30. I slept for about 8 hours. Oh, that's not bad. Just a nice temperature. Good morning, and it is beautiful. Really is a lovely morning, and it actually wasn't forecast. Midweek they was talking about wet over the weekend, but it's been lovely, really has, which is unusual for a bank holiday. That normally puts the mockers on the weather, but at the moment, really nice. I slept well. I was plenty warm enough. Ended up keeping the bivvy bag on, which I think was the right thing, because I was comfortably warm, not hot, so that's perfect. The only downside of sleeping on the floor, I woke up this morning and my pillow sort of felt damp on the side of my face. I thought, oh, I must have bloody dribbled in the night or something, until I sort of woke up properly and had a look, and it was a big fat slug. Gotta love bivvy bags, haven't you?
Slug in your pillow.
Meat's gone. It was still there last night. I checked when I went to bed. So he obviously came in the night and he's remembered that we're nice fellows and leave him bits now and again. Not far out the camp, as you can see. He has turned up in the evenings before, but it's normally overnight when he visits. Okay, we're all packed and we're on the way out. That was a nice one, Mark, wasn't it? Lovely
Yeah.
weather,
Oh, it was
perfect.
really nice weather.
Yeah, nice fire, everything worked well.
Lovely.
So this is the location where we have to park because we go opposite directions from here. So goodbye, Mark.
Goodbye.
I'll see you at work.
See you at work, Alan.